Hey everybody, welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. I'm Steve David and I'm your host. Today I want to talk about some TTFA matters where football is concerned, and I've got an all-star studded panel who will discuss everything that we need to talk about today. Take time to introduce them. First, my good old buddy, Larry calls him the doc, but I call him Buddy. Alvin Henderson, welcome to the set, Alvin.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Larry Joseph, again, Larry is the one who made the new Pomerac sauce. Welcome to the set, Larry.
Thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure.
Then next to Larry is Jefferson George. Excuse me. Jefferson, welcome to the set, bud.
Always a pleasure, Steve. Thanks for having me.
And agents of all agent, Narada Wilson, my co-host. Welcome to the set,
Pleasure
Narada.
to be here with the panel again.
Hey guys, it's always fun to have a discussion with you guys, and we want to talk about Trinidad football. And there's so much issues surrounding Trinidad football now. So let's start with the Gold Cup preparation. I want to know how you guys feel about what is being done so far, and how you guys think we're going to fare in this upcoming Gold Cup, because we do need to do well. So I'd open it up, barbershop discussion, and let's go at it. Who wants to start? Do you think first question, do you think we're going to do well in this Gold Cup, and why? Everybody don't talk at the same time.
I will just get the ball rolling. We were unfortunate that we didn't qualify for the 2017 Gold Cup.
Yes.
So we already missed that, and we were already going on a good momentum for 2015. My question to add to yours would be, does the panel believe we're going to somehow start back where we left off in 2015 and continue, or should our expectation be much less going into the next Gold Cup that is coming up?
Based on the players we have, right?
Well, everybody's expecting us to do well because we were part of the final hexagon
The Hex.
for the termination of the World Cup. And we got the people who were in that hexagon were automatic qualifiers for the Gold Cup. So everybody's expecting us to be one of the top teams in the Gold Cup, if not the top team from the Caribbean region. Despite the fact that Jamaica has done much better than we have in the last two Gold Cups. What I don't know is which Trinidad team is going to show up in that Gold Cup, and how is that team going to be properly prepared for that Gold Cup. The time that the Gold Cup starts, and it's due to start in June, is the best period of time for Trinidad to have all its players together, because most of the leagues in Europe, the MLS and the USL League, will continue while we are in our preparation, but most of the European leagues will be shut down, and we can get any of our players or players who are Trinidadians, which something I don't think we have looked enough for. Trinidadians who can get a Trinidad passport, who can play for Trinidad and Tobago in that Gold Cup. This is the time we should be looking for them. We have enough time to put a team together at that period. The problem is going to be, what is our team? Because right now, our team, a large number of the players who are on the team will be playing in the USL during that preparation period.
Yes, in terms of my own personal feelings as to how well we will do, I'm not going to set my bar of expectation too high, because like most supporters, I don't think our preparation is the best. And the fact that our own local football appears as if it may not get started until maybe very, very close to the Gold Cup, it means that those locally based players who may be selected for the national team will just have club training under the belts. And it means then that we may have a majority of foreign contingent to make up our national team going into that Gold Cup. So that doesn't really, to me, sound as if it's going to be ideal preparation. So I would hope that at least we could be competitive. I don't think our reputation frightens anybody anymore in the CONCACAF region. As a local supporter, I'm always hopeful. That's my heart, but with my head, when the reality hits us on the field, I personally, I don't expect that we would probably get advanced to the quarterfinals. Quarterfinals to me would be almost
Do you feel
like
like
a
you're too soft on them? You're giving them buffer now to go, and if they do well, okay. But if they don't do well, we expect it.
Well, because I sit here with two hearts. I sit here with as a former player and as a national, so my heart always wants the team to do excellent when they perform.
Right.
Right? But my head also tells me that it don't just happen just like that. So that's why I'm giving them that buffer. Right? Whichever wins in the end, either my head or my heart, you know, but that's why I give that.
You sound like a politician right there, man. You're right on the fence there, man. You're right on the fence, and you're going off that
Football
fence.
does that to me.
Jefferson, what do you think, bud?
Yes, I'll have to agree with the panel. I don't think there are enough indicators for us to be overly positive about our prospects going into the Gold Cup. Just touching on the point of our preparation or lack thereof, I think that is something that, based on what we are seeing, we don't think that's going to change. There's not going to be a lot more offered to the team in terms of being able to facilitate camps for your local players, facilitate additional training games, right? Our international friendly schedule has been, very, sporadic. It's been sparsely populated with good competition that will really stretch the local base guys mostly to have that competition that will prepare them for the tournament like the Gold Cup, right? Added to that, if we look at the current pool of players, I think we do need to deepen that pool, right? In critical areas, we don't seem to have somebody who can find us a goal, right? And even at the midfield, in terms of our creative capacity in the midfield, seems to be quite low as well. So I think I'm not seeing those problems being solved, anytime soon. So I would have to go with, a low level of expectation going into the Gold Cup.
Another political answer, paid political thing. Go ahead, Narada, show them what we're talking about. Another paid political.
Yeah, my personal view would be, I think we're probably fortunate of our position in the Hex to have had us qualify for the Gold Cup. I don't know if we had gone through the other sort of qualifying system for it, that we would have been lucky enough to make it there. And I think we saw that in 2017 when we didn't make, the Gold Cup. The guys, a lot of them have been playing to some further leagues, so I'm wondering, do we get them in time, crossing all these hemispheres? You have some of the guys playing in the Asian market, quite a few of them actually, to get them across. You have Molino now coming back from injury. Probably would be a bit more active, but do we get them back into the country in time for it? What I do see for the year is, I think because of some of the other leagues that are coming about for the national teams, we may have a bit more football. I actually think maybe 2020 we could see something happening better with the national team, but for 2019, I don't think we've done enough homework for us to expect too many upsets in the Gold Cup.
We're giving them more time.
Well, Steve, you can say it,
Let me tell you guys something. We have a coach who's been here. And we have players here. We should try to develop a national team. And the guys who playing on the outside, they've got to come and try to break into that.
Steve, you keep saying that over and over for years, but that is our best players from the time you are good enough.
They migrate.
You're gone.
Yeah.
As soon as you're good enough, Narada and his buddy's gonna take you and take you abroad. We have 35 35
Almost
players,
the
in my
most.
opinion, who are in the pool for the national team playing abroad. In the last game that we played against Wales.
Wales.
Outfield players, the goalkeeper was based in Trinidad.
Right.
Outfield players, I mean, maybe one or none.
Less than.
Lesson is not even
No,
outfield.
Or less than is not.
outside, yeah.
He's
He's
outside now.
outside.
Too.
Yeah.
He's outside now. Too.
I don't think there were any outfield players who
That's
started.
locally based.
And if you look on the bench, I think there was one local base player, Humphrey. Other than Muckett is outside now. Muckett
Yeah.
was playing here last year. He's
Hodges
outside now.
outside. Everyone is outside at the moment.
The only other player on the bench was the goalkeeper, Fonset. I
Yeah.
can't think of anybody else who was on that bench who or got playing time.
Yeah.
Our best players are outside. And the coach is going to choose from those players outside. He didn't have some of them available for this game, the Wales game. He didn't have Jones
And Molino.
and Molino, and he didn't have Winchester and some of them outside. So there are more outside than you would ever think that can make the team
If
from Trinidad.
we have 35 players playing abroad professionally,
Correct.
and this is the national team we produce. This is the standard of a national team. Something is wrong with
Because
that
they are
picture.
not playing in the top
The best
leagues
leagues.
in the world. They're not. For instance, we
Okay.
have a number of players playing in America, but
not
they
at
are
the
playing in
USL.
second tier in America. I watch the MLS all the time. Every week after I watch the MLS highlights.
And-
And you know who's scoring goals in the MLS? Jamaicans. Jamaicans, Cubans, Dominican Republic
Correct.
from this region.
And in 2015-16, we had about 6 guys
Yes.
playing at the MLS level.
So we can't depend on them. So we have to get local government guys. We have young guys, man. We don't give enough young guys opportunities. Let me tell you why. When Gally and Sadafel and Archibald and Dillian and they were in college, they were on the national team. So let's do something with our college players and let's try to develop them.
They have brought them into
They have.
training, and they've been seeing them in games, and we have, at least I have not seen any. Lee was taken to the last game, the game before the Wales game. He's already a recent graduate of Naparima. But the players do not shine or come out as the players of that era.
We don't give them the opportunity.
No, they don't deserve the opportunity.
Steve, listen, you're missing a
What am I missing?
important
Tell me what
point
I'm
here
missing,
in
yeah.
making comparisons to when you guys were in college. In terms of this level you guys played at 17-year-old compared to those 17-year-olds presently.
The gap
we
is
do not have 17 who perform at the colleges league that could walk into any national team here.
The gap
And
is
that's
not
just a
even-
real.
Not even the age
You
group.
understand? That's just a reality. In your day, you could have gotten not one, not just two, not just three, countless 17, 18, 19-year-olds who could have walked onto the national team simply because their standard was good enough.
Yeah.
And you don't think we have
And we
enough?
sit here and we have to admit that this is probably the lowest era in terms of standard for our national team and local football.
And I think a bigger
Right?
part to play also is that even from my line of work, is that we're seeing that even though we're getting a lot more players outside, we're getting them outside at 24, 25 years old, which means there isn't the standout 16, 17,
That's
18-year-old that we could just send abroad. You know, we're getting them out, but these guys are taking a lot longer to develop to reach the product that we want them. So it's going to be because our domestic league isn't buffering there. We have in the secondary school and their national team, but there's no buffer. So you find that it's a bit tougher. Again, we're seeing Marcus with Joseph, who's a top player that for a while, now receiving a contract to play up.
Yeah.
And Marcus Joseph is 28 years of
Yeah,
age.
he's
So it
28.
says something.
So
And,
you-
Steve, let's say something here. It's not that we're not getting a chance to look at our under 20s at international level. We got a chance recently to see them in how many games? 5 or 6 games. And all right, sometimes you look at a team and you say, well, all right, the team is not playing well. The team is not playing well. But you see that individual there? I like him. I feel he can make an impact. And that is what I look at. I look at the overall how the team is playing, and I look to see the individual quality of the players on that team. And many of the players on that team who came up against international competition, even international competition of the Caribbean, disappointed me.
Good enough.
Okay, we need to take a break, and we'll be right back. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
Looking for a safe place for the whole family? Well, now you've found it. We are ACTN The Voice, your family-friendly station. Whether it's current affairs, kids and classic TV, sport and community features, Christian and music programming, plus so much more, ACTN is the station for you. Join us each day for programming that puts morals, values and family first. We are ACTN The Voice, your family-friendly station.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
My first question was, and roll back that tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
You
know, all the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy.
Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host. Okay, welcome back, viewers. Viewers, you guys missed this one. Off the set, I was saying that we do have North-South colleges that have great players, and every one of them is one of these guys say, yeah, we had a great game, North-South game, great players. But Alvin Henderson says he can pick the Gold Cup team now on the set for us, so I'll allow him to do that.
I'll start from the back.
I think, Steve, we're going to show you that because of the limitations with players,
The lack of depth. And
the lack of depth,
pool.
it is possible.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
let's go it down.
No,
Go ahead.
Pick the Gold Cup team.
I'm saying if I pick 8 out of the 11, you're not going to jump on me.
7 more than 11
You're
is
going to
good.
not jump on me because somebody might be injured.
I will play it back.
As Guerra was recently. Phillips in goal.
Who's Phillips?
Marvin.
Marvin Phillips.
Oh, Marvin.
Goalkeeper
Okay.
started.
Goalkeeper.
Marvin is still a goalkeeper?
Yes, and the Fonset has challenged recently, but Lawrence seems to have confidence that Marvin is his best goalkeeper at this stage.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
At left back, he's going to play Hodge.
Tristan, yeah.
Tristan Hodge.
Correct.
Tristan Hodge likes to play inside.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to play stopper. But we have a
lack of
a dearth of
options.
players at options at left back. Tristan Hodge is going to play there. He's going to play Bato as his main
Correct.
defender.
Bato is
And
the main.
recently, and I've been telling people that Cyrus has improved significantly recently. Cyrus has gone above the others. Gonzalez being the other one
Correct.
that I felt was there, and Abu Bakr. I think Cyrus has taken that position. So Cyrus and Batu are playing in at stopper position. All right? The 3 midfielders.
No, it's 3.
That's for so David at right back.
Right back.
Okay.
You're
Aubrey,
4-3-3, right? You're
Yeah.
picking a 4-3-3.
4-3-3. Aubrey David at right back.
Okay.
I don't see anybody else competing for that position. Alvin Jones maybe will come as can push him to the limit.
I doubt.
But Aubrey David gets the start before Alvin Jones, who's a local. All right? In midfield, we're going to go with 3. I don't like the combination of the 3 because I think all 3 of them have too many similar qualities.
Yes.
Leston Paul, a hard worker, decent on the ball, will fetch and carry for you and stimulate the midfield a little bit.
Correct.
Highland, the captain, who is the one sure player to be on the team.
Correct.
And right now he has George. He loves George.
Yes, it's
People
George.
love George because he's a ball winner. But George limited because of what he can do with the ball in midfield.
he does have the-
I would rather us play Highland in that defensive midfield role with a Paul, and let us get an attacking midfield player of quality in a 3 in the middle of that.
So we don't have Bukard in that midfield.
Bukard is gone.
No, he's
Bukard is
I
gone
think the
because
only
of
one
his
probably
age
might be
and
He
whatever.
has gone.
Atula Guerra was here.
Atula Guerra may be the player who could play the
advanced
midfield,
role
but
in that midfield.
as he has gotten older,
More injuries
he's
are
more
coming in.
into the attacking position where he's been scoring goals, and his defensive role, he has less to do in that defensive role. Nathan Lewis is playing on the right side. Jones is going to play on the left side, and that forward is going to be either Winchester,
Plaza.
either one of the 2 Winchesters, or
Plaza.
no, I don't think he's going to go with Plaza again. I honestly don't think
Peltier.
Plaza has had his chance. I feel he's going to go with Guerra if Guerra is fit.
Yeah, but you could go into the substitutes and know that there's going to be at least 4 or 5 people that will be on that plane to the goal.
Yes, I like Muckett. Muckett is a young player. He's smart. He's useful in midfield, can run all over the place. Perhaps doesn't have the subtlety as some of the other players, but Muckett to me is somebody I would like to see regularly on the national
You
team.
like him, but Larry don't like him. Larry likes somebody else. So Larry...
No. We have given the starting 11 and we're going down to reserves.
Yeah, so
now.
based on what you are asking Doc to do, which is select the team that will be on the plane to the Gold Cup, he's probably gotten 10 out of 11. And if we drill down into the substitute, he'll probably get 13 out of 16.
Yeah.
So
he's just trying to make a point, because we could sit here at the 2nd of April and select the team to
the
go. It
availability
just shows
is-
you where we're at.
No,
It just shows us where
Looking
our
at
head
the-
is
you
at.
know.
But not... That's why we don't have the younger players getting interjected into the team, because if we can sit down here 2 months before and select a team, we have to get some young
They
people
were
right
in
into
the camp
team.
the last time around. They were in the camp for 2 weeks.
I can tell you one kid should be making a team right now.
Who's that?
Judah Gasset.
He was in the
They've
camp.
tried him. He's been in
Yeah,
camp.
he's there.
He's been
was in the camp.
But you have to let them play.
No, but Steve, I agree with you in that part in terms of we can't concede
Right. So we have
that
to-
they aren't good enough, so they won't be good enough. We have to create avenues, and that is where our long-term planning come in, right? We've identified, I think everybody has seen his talent, the Garcia that is, and I've seen some potential there that can grow into something special. He's not going to grow into something special by staying wherever he is now and arrive at that player. And I'm saying, to agree with the point, there must be some plan as to how we're going to grow this pool by creating opportunities to expose the younger players. Now, the other countries do it. It doesn't have to be, because these players are locally based, it doesn't have to be an international window. But again, that's going to call for some resources which we haven't had for the longest while, right? But again, if nothing is done, we're going to continue with a pool of players that are continually being reduced all the time. We have Molino, who's one of our better attacking players, who is out through injury. And, we're really missing a player like that who can, unlock a defense, or who can play stronger on the front foot. The three that we play, I think that limits our opportunities to create chances, and you've been seeing it. We don't look like we can score. We don't look like we can advance the ball properly sometimes.
Sometimes
and
we
because of the
have
type that we're playing.
Sometimes I feel we have to play potential so they can get the experience, and we don't do that. But how you expect them to develop if we don't? We put them with about 10.
I agree with
8
you. No, I
different
agree
players.
with you, because there's no way you could get experience if we don't play.
Right.
That's a given, right? But then you have to admit that the pressure point that coaches operate
think
at
is
the
that.
international level, where results speak so much to their CV, and whether it means they would get either a rolling contract or get employed elsewhere. Results most of the time tends to depend or result in who is selected for a game. especially, I mean, Trinidad and Tobago, you know, big noise in world football. Come on, right? So that our results are more magnified because in terms for the coaches and them who coach our team, the result of the game is important. So sometimes it may not seem in sync with what's coming up in terms of the competition. So unfortunately, the people who would lose out in a scenario like that would be those same people you're talking about. Those potential young players who need to be playing so they can gain the experience, all right? But unfortunately, the system just doesn't allow for it as much as you would like, right? And when you factor in that we don't really have a huge amount of these youngsters who have this potential to break into the senior guys, right? The coaches tend to play the safe averages, which is go with the experienced ones and those who playing outside, as the case
No,
may
I think Doc might be able to speak to this better than we can. That will address the issue of what type of planning is being done. Like when we interview for a head coach, what is his objectives? As a administration, what do they require from the guy in charge?
In the past, the last several episodes where coaches have been interviewed, it was to win at senior level. Other coaches, the national job was actually extricated from the rest of the group. You have to win because FIFA rankings are important.
Yes. I was now going to add in.
FIFA rankings are important in getting games. Because if your FIFA ranking is lower than 100, absolutely nobody in the top 50 wants to play you.
Correct.
Where we have slacked up recently is that we don't have an under-23 team. Where people used to graduate from the under-20 team to the under-23 team. The under-23 would get their game experience at the CAC games and Olympic qualifying. And that is where you would get your international game experience. Olympic qualifying, CAC games. And then you would graduate from, the better players would graduate from there into the senior team. Yes. So that is where we've been deficient recently. And not that we haven't gone to our CAC games, but we've gone with an inferior team. Russell Latapi went to the last CAC games with an under-20 team.
Correct.
And we were shown up significantly. So if we were preparing properly, that under-23 CAC games team, Olympic qualifying team, would have been an under-23 team with some of the players just on the borderline of getting into the senior national team.
Let me give you guys some facts of life in football. If you in past mid-20s, upper 20s, and you're not a renowned name in any league in the world, you're done. That's so all the guys we have who's 20 something, 25, 26, 27, 28 who's out there, and they're not a Dwight York when he was out there, or Russell Latapi, or Stone John, or whoever. If your name is not calling out there, you finish. You can't make it. So that's why we don't need to bring these people back. We have young players we need to push.
Unfortunately, I disagree wholeheartedly.
I know you would.
And Steve, and I'm saying to have a good team, you don't need 11 great players. Actually,
who said you need 11 great ones?
No, but I'm saying you're saying in the top leagues of the world. What you need is actually, as I have said before, you need a spine of good players. You need an outstanding goalkeeper, one or two outstanding defenders, one midfielder of real quality, and a goal scorer. If you have that on your team, you can build up for the rest of the team with players of lesser talent and still have a very good team that can compete in the Caribbean area, definitely. Correct. But to me, to compete at the CONCACAF level, we have to have 7 really quality players. We don't have that. We don't have 7 quality players at present who would stand up to any quality player in the world.
Okay, so the viewers are judging. So my point is, if they are not quality players to stand up, we don't need to go with, just bring the youths in, give them the opportunity to develop while we develop.
But Steve, that's why I asked the question there about what is the mandate. Now, again, if it is to win at senior level, we are missing that mandate. We are not getting there.
Right.
Right?
If we
so we
continue-
have to, if we continue in
On
that,
that-
vein, what was going to cause a change in the result? And we are doing now? Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. So there has to be something else that is tied to that result-oriented senior team to add quality, to add potential, and eventually have a deadline as to what you're going to set your target to be. Because as we are doing now, it's hit and miss. When we do hit, we cannot reproduce that because there is no particular formula.
Right.
You know, so I think that's the challenge for the administrators now. When they hire someone, and in this case, I agree with Steve, there has to be some injection of persons of in this case, is potential quality that we are going to be able to depend on in the future.
Narada, you have it. You have the answer. Give it to me.
No, I think there's a void. I believe, just as Doc, explained, probably about 7 top players could take us forward, or we would be successful. I think we have about 5.
We have 5 top players?
I went high because I believe Batu and, as Doc said, Cyrus could be trouble in defense. They are really quality players. Why I said 5 is because I am including Molino in the squad going. I believe I've spoken to him recently, I've followed his progress and whatever. Molino is at the right place, and I think by that time, he may not have enough games under his belt, but I think he would get the call. I think, you're thinking about a Jovan Jones being on the field, it's there. Our biggest problem is in the attack right now to complete it, but I gave credit to Willis Plaza recently because we haven't had a striker that scored over 15 goals in any league across the world. Now, granted, we may say India is not, up there in the top leagues in the world. I think to still score 21 goals at the end of the season does say something. And I think if he gets the call and we get him firing on all cylinders, we could be some trouble. The problem I do have, which I would concede, is that I don't see any young player of that potential on the under-20 circuit, for example, even in just the CONCACAF region from our country, that we could say, yeah, he showed well in Trinidad. But I haven't seen anyone that I could say, yeah, he's made some little ruffles in CONCACAF at under 20 level right now. We could put him in. I think the gap is too big. We're seeing it at the under 15. We may even see some 17-year-olds that could show. But under 20, for me, 21, I don't see anybody. So the succession plan really isn't there, and we're probably going to have a void. If by all standards it remains the same, we're going to have a void for 2-3 years and then come up.
If we don't have the under 20, we take the under 17.
Yeah, this is like,
Put an under 17 who can do it. All right, you guys all seen the secondary school all-star game, right? You can pick out 2 or 3 kids that you see with real talent that can
pick
do
out 4 or 5. But then what do you do with that talent? Where do we do when they leave college league? Where do they go to maintain that talent and that potential? They go to a club team, which is into the seniors, and a lot of them get lost there.
So that's that. Then I didn't say club. I said with our national players.
No. Well, how much game does the national team? When a player leaves college, he has to go to a club team to continue his playing career.
Right.
The national team is just a couple games.
Okay, so they go to...
So he goes... One time he leaves colleges league, he enters into adult football. And that's where a lot of them get lost. A lot of the potential at colleges league is not realized or developed at the senior level for whatever reason. So yes, the potential at 17 and 18 college league is there in a match that we see. But there isn't like 2 buffer zones in the senior team as we had before under 21, under 23s. That would gradually allow these players of potential to incrementally improve on that potential while
provide
getting
games for them.
You understand? So that huge gap between college league and the senior team, a lot of them are struggling to bridge that right now.
I don't think Dwight York, I don't think Russell Latapi, I don't think Stern John, I don't think all these players went through that gradual. I know I didn't.
Steve,
But
and
I think-
again,
yes.
we could point on one hand with the names that you call.
No.
Right?
But
So
as-
when we're talking
yeah.
about football on a national level, we can't take out the exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
There will always be the exceptions to the rule.
But not only
Right.
exception, Larry. I
Right.
think there was also a blueprint without being a blueprint. We may not physically have said this is what they did, but in your case and the other names that you called, there was a point that they were playing consistent football league-wise in some capacity, whether it be the secondary school, the North-South,
Secondary
you know,
schools.
whether it was the Super League at the time or whatever the case is, there was league football happening. So those guys, you all got 10, 15 games here, 12 games here, even if it was going abroad for a stint or whatever the case is. The problem we have is if we name the 5 guys in the secondary schools who just came out of football, most of them, let's say they didn't go on scholarship. If you went on scholarship, you play in abroad right now. If not, you're here. You're signed with a Pro League or a Super League club that has been inactive for some period of time. So they're just there and then getting a call-up every now and then for 3 weeks, maybe 2-3 months with the national team with some training every now and then. Is not 6 to 7 to 8 months of football week in, week out. And I think that is where the problem lies. We have the players, the guys were developing well, but then there's a break. We don't have a blueprint where they would have been maybe an under 20 that was playing in the Super League at one point, or maybe some club team that is playing on a consistent basis, both locally and abroad.
I don't think we'd agree on this one, so can we move on forward?
Can I just make one statement? I'll make one statement.
Yeah.
I can't say that all the coaches are bad coaches. The majority of secondary school all-star players cannot make the first team in the local Pro League.
That's right.
Okay,
That's correct.
on that
Correct.
note,
Correct.
On that note, we will take a break. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
Looking for a safe place for the whole family? Well, now you found it. We are ACTN The Voice, your family-friendly station. Whether it's current affairs, kids and classic TV, sport and community features, Christian and music programming, plus so much more, ACTN is the station for you. Join us each day for programming that puts morals, values, and family first. We are ACTN The Voice, your family-friendly station.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
But my first question was, and roll back that tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
In all the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy.
Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host. Okay, welcome back, viewers. Guys, we had the CONCACAF Nations draw recently, and happily enough, we are in the Group A.
Correct.
With some good teams, like you guys talk about Jamaica, and Jamaica is in the Group B. And you have other teams like Guatemala, not Guatemala, some
Barbados.
Some others in
Barbados is
C.
in C.
Barbados is in Group C.
Yeah.
Russell had to play Steve.
So I think we were fortunate to be not fortunate, but we had the ranking for it, but some of those who the unfortunate ones end up in B and C. So let's talk about that and what we think and what got us there or what didn't get the others there.
We got there because of the Hex, right? That was the first thing. We were 6 out of 6. And in our group A, we got Honduras was 4th in the Hex, and Martinique, who qualified, I think, 4 games with 4 wins. They played, you know. So for me, there were teams that in Martinique is not as easy as we think because they have been on a constant playing of football, regardless of the level. Yeah. I think they even drew with us recently, right? And Honduras was placed slightly higher than us in the Hex. But it's not too damaging who we qualified against. playing against, because they're teams that we can match, you know, even if it's a draw scenario. What we have to be careful is, I think, if we could not be relegated to the lower tier, because how this is set up is that all the #1 teams after the first round, they go up a tier and the lower teams come down. But CONCACAF is, well, FIFA is doing it to the members to have more constant football at national level. What we would want, regardless, is to stay in the top 2, first and second, to ensure that we stay in the first tier for when another team comes up, that we continue on competitive football.
In essence, what it means is that we must either be above Honduras or Martinique.
Yeah.
We must finish either second or first. And to tell you the honest truth, we should be competing against teams like Honduras. But the last time we said so on this program, we were bitterly disappointed when Honduras came in the second round to Arthur Bolden Stadium, and in the first 16 minutes, they wiped us off the field. Martinique, we have never done well against Martinique.
That's right.
So we have to be very wary about Martinique. Even when Stephen Hart had quite a good team and we were to play against Martinique to qualify,
Correct.
we lost the game.
Yeah.
You know, and people, I've heard people say recently, oh, it was Sandfield. It wasn't Sandfield. It was Stephen Hart's team. And Stephen Hart went with a very good playing team to Martinique, and we lost. So Martinique, if you look at the history between Trinidad and Martinique, Martinique has gotten the better of us. They are always a top playing team. They take their players because of their association with France. A lot of their players are playing in the French leagues. It might be the lower French leagues, but they get top-class professionals.
At least 3 players
and that's what I was not going to add. More recently, I saw that majority plays in Martinique.
Liga 2 in
that's the
France.
second tier.
Second tier is a top league.
Very competitive.
And in Europe, and their players are coming to play for Martinique. So it's not going to be easy. We have to put down our best foot, and from the Gold Cup, because this Nations League is starting in September.
Yes.
From the Gold Cup, I would like to see the impetus from the Gold Cup using some of the younger players in some of the games in the Gold Cup to push us now into a Nations League, which will eventually push us into World Cup qualifying later on.
Another thing about the Martinique team, Alvin, they seem to be able to score goals. In 2 of the games, they score 4. Which is something that we are still struggling to find, you know. So, and that's important. You have a team, regardless who they were playing against, right? But they were competition that we don't normally score those amount of goals against. You know,
while we're talking about goal scoring, I think there's an important part of what has been happening with Trinidad, and I've been looking at it in depth. As to why we're not scoring goals. And is it because we lack true finishers and goal scorers? Yes, that is to some degree what is the problem. But I think the other problem is the system that we are playing doesn't allow us to get too many attacking players in the box at the same time to be able to get chances on goal. Most of the time, if you look at the games that Trinidad plays, and Nathan Lewis will get down the flank, and when he crosses the ball, it's usually one person in the box and one trailing 20 yards behind. And we never seem, in the system that we play in, or the method of play, how we playing, to full or the box or in and around the edge of the box with enough players so that we get first chance, maybe second chance, maybe third chance, because that is how goals come. You need not necessarily have a striker who might be scoring at 20, 30 goals, but the goals can come from various points on the team. Our play, in my opinion, is too defensive-oriented at the present time. We're setting up too defensive-oriented. Even when we set up defensive-oriented, which, all right, we want to stop goals, which is important, we must be able to break quickly into counter-attack quickly, so that we are flooding the opponent's area with 2 or 3 players in the box who can be there for crosses and for diagonal balls coming across. We don't seem to have that, so goals are hardly ever going to come, in my opinion.
Agreed. Agreed.
Well, I mean, I looked at the strikers as a former striker, and I don't see them making the runs that would demand the balls. And so if they don't make the run, what's the midfield supposed to do? And again, if I am a striker who can't head the ball, don't go down the ball line and play it for me to head it. That's not my strength. So if you do that twice, Alvin, I go and grab you. Alvin, what are you doing? I can't head the ball. What are you playing me the ball in the air for? Play it on the ground, right? So we have to see that kind of confrontation sometimes. You know, sometimes you get pissed off. I don't even see them get pissed off. But if I have a midfielder who is giving it to me when I'm open, he's going to hear it. And he's going to hear it good. So I think it's not only our system and our coach. I think it's everything. It's a whole ball of wax, man. And I haven't said about the coach. The honeymoon is over for our coach now, I think, isn't it? And then he has to start winning games. Otherwise, we cannot just keep patting him on the back, because we all want him to do well. Every single one of us here. But it's time for him to start winning.
I think what is the reason why sometimes, well, in my opinion, is that concerning the coach is that we somehow not given him everything. So it's as though we don't hit him too hard because we think we have to be soft because finances isn't in order. He's getting games that maybe we're not 100% sure if those were games he chose, if it's just, well, it's what is available. And that is why I said, I think from 2020, you kind of see it better because we have the games for 2019. We have the Gold Cup. You have the Nations League, which could provide us with quite a few games around our CONCACAF region. And, you know, then we have a couple friendlies in between, I'm sure. So we have the rest of the year where it's competitive football. Now we need to see results because these guys are going to be playing consistently. And then we have to really make a decision as to if we evaluating the coach right or not. I think he has everything this year, or at least better than the previous years, that his work is going to show up.
Right. No, for me, that's understandable. But then again, back to the point I was making with Doc, if I am the one being interviewed, I know what I'm going to get. So I can't give you a pass for saying that you didn't get this or you didn't get that. I'm interested to know what is the plan. And I can't say from here, but it's not visible. What are we trying to do? And for somebody, he's in his second stint, right? He went through, his contract was extended. And again, okay, what, for me, the important thing is, what is the plan? We can't just keep saying, well, we have World Cup coming up, and these are going to provide us games, so we are going to be better in 2020. It doesn't happen like that. What
plan you mean? I mean, you're the coach, and you get the job. So now you have to put a program in place. That
this is what I'm saying.
So you don't wait for nobody to tell you that.
That is the responsibility of the coach, and that's what I'm saying. Right. So I would judge him based on the results.
Right.
I don't want to hear that you didn't have this or you didn't have that.
Right.
You're coaching Trinidad, you're not coaching, England or Brazil.
Yeah.
Right? And teams like these will always come with limitations.
Right.
And we know what the limitations are. All right? So, yes, this is the situation as it is. With these resources, with these players, what are you going to do with it?
I got you. I want to hear Larry's view on that because Larry guys were very quiet there. I want to hear, what do you think?
Well, any candidate who applies and gets a job for a national team will always be judged on their results.
Right.
Right? But the result is not just in a vacuum, maybe for the average supporter in the seats who just look at the games. Right? But obviously when he sat in the interview, what was outlined to him is in what his KPIs are going to be and what is expected of him. That would have been agreed to at that discussion.
Correct.
So he's going to have to work within those. The question is now, how much of his KPIs we, the general public, knows?
Tell my
So
viewers
that would explain to us, for instance,
tell my viewers what
his
the
key
KPI
performance
is.
indicators.
Okay, tell about
If
okay.
the association hires Doc Henderson and says, we're giving you a 1-year contract to coach national team.
Okay.
And these are your key performance indicators. We want our national team to move from ranking 50 to ranking 40 within 12 months.
We presently 93.
Right. We want to see at least 30% under 23 players on every selection. So those are just 2 KPIs I'm giving.
All right.
Right? So at the end, and we will have a midterm assessment of your results. So at the midterm, they call him back in. Now, we would have played, Alvin, national team would have played 3 games and lost all 3. Right? He would have failed in terms of moving the ranking, but he may have used up the 30% on the 23s. So when he sits with the panel who select, they would have said, well, okay, you score 50%. But the average supporter, and he would, but we lost 3 games, get rid of he.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So we probably need to know what was some of the KPIs that Dennis is working on. That. So we'll know what they're judging him by. Because we only judge him by one indicator, and that is the results. Whether Trinidad play Tobago, whether Trinidad play Grenada, play Brazil, we play 3 and lost 3. So that's what I'm talking about. But obviously in today's highly competitive world of international football, and with Trinidad having tasted World Cup participation and countless other celebratory moods such as nearly qualifying and winning the Caribbean Cup many years, we come to expect our national team to always do well whenever they take the pitch, regardless of what level. And we have been spoiled because historically we've been able to demolish most, if not all, the Caribbean islands. We now struggle against those teams. So the average supporter don't have no patience with a national coach who can beat Martinique, Joel Grenada, and that's what I'm talking about. So Dennis, and he's well aware of that. He has played professional football at the highest level, so he knows this. He knows he would be judged, sometimes harshly, but that's the world in which he lives in. He's very fortunate now to have been extended. There may be extenuating circumstances as to why, but nevertheless, his honeymoon is over. He has to produce results, and this is a year of competition where he's going to be judged by results.
So let's help him. I say let's help him now.
Right.
And what I'm saying is there are positives that Dennis has brought to the team, in my view. Trinidad no longer gets a lot of goals scored against them early or even during the game. If we're losing, it's no more by 1 or 2 goals. Our key problem is we are defending well, and we are a defensive-oriented team. In fact, I think the team defends, because of the shape and whatnot, defends a lot like how when Ben Hacker played. Because many people are behind the ball defending. The problem with that football is that going forward, you're limited in how you're going to score goals, and he has to find a way to get us going forward in a more organized fashion.
Correct. Now, that's a very good point, because again, I would not know what the plans are. Looking at the football, you can see that he's working on structural defensive formation, organization, discipline, while defending. As Alvin correctly said, when attacking, however, you can see clearly where our limitations are. The transition is too slow. Now, Nathan Lewis is very quick. So he as well would show that transition from attack to defense, once the ball goes down the wing, he gets there and there's one person to aim at, right? Now, based on who's playing in the midfield, that would, now you have George, you have Highland, who's probably most times, doing the organizing and playing the passes out. But then to be able to play in a different way, when space opens up in the midfield, the ball can't be played in the midfield now, and we move the ball forward and allow the team to advance so that we have more players, in offensive positions. And I'm saying, if it is that, yes, we'll give him that point, that defensively we have seen some improvement, right? But football is defense, transitions, attack. And we have to begin to see improvement in those areas.
1 minute, Narada, last word.
For me, I believe the, the solution to the attack is Kevin Molino coming back into the team. That's my viewpoint about it. I think once things build with him, and we have other players we will bring in, but I think that is the workhorse, and that is where most of our goals came in the seasons gone. And we hope that he comes back on the team and puts something forward.
I got one question for you. Do you represent Molino?
Not something I was going to ask you. No, I don't.
You don't represent
But
him?
I admire
He's
the player.
probably planning to.
All right, I just thought
He's
you
probably
did.
planning to.
He probably
Nice question.
All right. Hey, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys so much.
Pleasure.
ACTN, thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring the show to our viewers. Viewers, thank you for tuning in every Monday night. And we do repeat on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock, if you missed it on Monday at 8 o'clock. We do have a Facebook page. You can check us out. And we do have an email address, fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com. You can drop us a line. The show is ended. My name is Steve David. Go in peace. I see you next Monday night. Good night.